get down to business. Landing pages, man. I cannot believe that we haven't done landing pages before. Like, we've talked about them, but we've never really done a webinar on them. So I'm super excited today, and landing pages are just like all the rage, so it's perfect timing. So I can't wait to get into it. So let's do our housekeeping real quick. And I should close down all my other things. There's me, Mike Bjorkman, broker owner, HomeSmart NCG in Santa Clarita, Northridge, and Westlake. In the middle is the most beautiful little social media girl ever, Deanna Miller, co-founder, Stark Social. People always say, how do we know each other? What's our relationship? Well, Deanna does our social media. I do my Facebook only, my personal Facebook. Deanna does everything else with the help of Julie on some of the other companies. Different industries, whatnot. So Deanna's our social media goddess. We're very blessed to have her. Julie over there is career services at HomeSmart, meaning she hires and recruits agents to come work here for all the right reasons. She's very involved in promoting our webinars and re-promoting the recordings and helping our agents stay trained. So one of the reasons we do this upfront and honest, transparent, we want agents to see all the cool stuff HomeSmart offers and why you should be working here. Two quick announcements about HomeSmart. We now have a $3,600 a year cap. Yes, that's true. Call me or Julie later. We can talk about it. Yeah. And then the second thing is we just launched a 70-30 split plan where we actually include transaction coordinator for the agent. We feed them leads. We give them one of the top CRMs in the country, along with training, accountability, and all sorts of other good stuff. So agents have been asking for it. There's a lot of agents that say, oh, if I only had the lead, I know I could close them. So guess what? We're giving you leads, and we're giving you the training and all the good stuff you need to be super successful that way. So that's a new program that we just launched. We just did a meeting upstairs with our first 5 agents on the program and showing them the CRM and how the leads are distributed. It's really cool. All right, enough about HomeSmart. Thank you for putting up with that, everybody. And now, oh yeah, the Facebook groups. You probably already are in there, but if you're not, make sure you join the Stark and HomeSmart 10-week social media series. That's Stark and HomeSmart 10-week social media series. And the HomeSmart Next Level Training Group. Both are great groups to keep up on social media, what's going on at HomeSmart, what's going on in the industry. Great posts in there all the time just to keep track of what's going on. And the next we always like to just pop out there are our podcasts. Real Estate Marketing Show is a podcast that I left alone a year ago, and we're starting it back up. We have content to put on there right now, actually. But the Real Estate Marketing Show has got about 16 really good podcasts that are career-changing for real estate agents. Everything from brokerage should I work at, what about REO, what about personality styles, NLP, blah, blah, blah. And then Deanna and Nate's The Social Life Podcast, awesome podcast. We all need to keep up with social media, and most of us are frustrated because it's so hard to keep up with social media. Well, Nate and Deanna have committed for free to keep you up to date. And now the most exciting announcement. Stark Social now has its own app downloadable on the Google Play and Apple App Store. This is why you need it now. On that app, you could watch all our previous webinars without having to search through all the groups and text me and email Julie. Download the app, they're all there, along with their recordings, of course. It's just a great one-stop shop for all that stuff. And I think that's it. Okay. I've got so many questions here.
Oh, we haven't even gotten started.
I know. All right, let's move on. So this is interesting to me because every time we start this webinar, I say, Deanna, blow through some of the slides so I totally have a clue of what we're talking about because, of course,
right.
we're freaking butt off for you guys to get these together for you. And this is with the first slide is, did you know there's more than one kind of landing page? And I'm sitting there going, do I even know the answer to that? And I'm supposed to be like your co-host that knows something about social media. And then once we got to the next one, I'm like, oh, yeah, there really is a lot of different landing pages. And I was listening to a podcast the other day about landing pages, and an interesting fun fact, the very first landing page that was successful, Microsoft launched a long time ago when they were introducing Windows 98 or one of those. They were having a hard time selling it, and they wanted a very specific page just to promote that, and that's what they built. And from then, landing pages were everywhere. Do you know that?
Yeah, that's actually, it's funny
I'm
because
talking the rest of them. Did you guys know
did anybody else know that besides
that?
the geeks over here on this side of the table or camera?
Yes, it's being recorded, just so you know, guys. So don't go off to that listing appointment. It's way more important. All right, so here we go. I'm going to let you take over, and I might even mute myself if it's getting good. Otherwise, I'll just blah, 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 blah.
I'm sure you'll have some input because you've got experience with landing pages and you've got experience with success and some failure, and I think that's part
I
of.
legitimately own right now probably 10, 12 landing pages, and we use them with social media, Google AdWords, everything. So we love landing pages.
I think that's landing pages. When I first started getting into them a couple years ago, it was not really catching on like I think a lot of people thought they were, and I think a lot of the big brands were using them. But we've seen that there's been a development of a lot of different types of landing pages. And every time I get asked for a landing page, I say, well, what kind of landing page are you looking for? And 9 times out of 10, the clients have no idea. And that's okay. So we're going to take this and we're going to talk about all the different types of landing pages. We're going to talk about the do's and the don'ts. We're going to talk about how you should be using them and what you can be using them for. And then I'll talk about the tool that I like to use. In a previous one, we talked about sales funnels and generating things like that. And I was a big fan of another one, and then I've since switched allegiances, if you will. So here's different types of landing pages that are at the core of every sales funnel, or should be at the core of every sales funnel. You've got a splash page, you've got lead capture, you've got squeeze page, and that's probably the one that's most commonly asked for is, can you build me a squeeze page? And I'll show you what the example looks like for a squeeze page, and it's probably not what you thought it was. Sales page, click through, and then, of course, webinar landing pages. So each of these different types of pages has a different goal. As the end result. So that's what it really boils down to is what are you looking to do? And when people ask me, well, do I need a different one for each different type of thing I'm doing? Yes, because when you're creating ads on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, you're not going to use the same ad for every type of thing that you're looking to accomplish. So if you're looking to get leads, let's say you're looking to get seller leads, you're not going to do the same type of ad on Facebook that you would do for seller leads as you would for buyer leads. You would use different language. You would use different images. You would use a different call to action. So let's start off with lead capture. And again, you guys, this is available to download, and then I also post this in the Facebook group. So if you miss something that I say, don't worry about it. You'll have the video, and also the PDF is there for you too. So what is a lead capture page? Well, what does one need? It needs a concise lead capture form. So you want to make sure that it is straightforward. You want their name, email, if it's you want the address, you want phone number, but you also want to make sure that you're offering them something that is irresistible. You want to word it in a way that makes them feel like if they don't give you the information right now, they could be missing out on something huge and important.
Right. Like the handout, you guys can see down there under handouts, it says build a better landing page. Download that PDF. Don't forget.
Yeah, don't forget. I will email it to you if you forget. But
on the landing page, it could be the 5 most deadliest mistakes to avoid when building a landing page for a real estate agent.
Right, exactly.
If I was building a landing page as a real estate agent, I would download it. Or 5 tips to get you fantastic success as a real estate agent with your very first landing page. Download this now. I probably put my email in there just so you can have it. We call that an ethical bribe, right? It's ethical because we're giving something away. And that's,
right, exactly.
That's typically what we call our first opt-in. Sometimes have 2 opt-ins. So we like that particular way to build our list.
Yeah. Exactly. So the placement in your sales funnel. So everybody knows that there is supposed to be, you've got the beginning, you've got the middle, you've got the end. So in your sales funnel, you should be putting these usually at the beginning because obviously you want to get those emails. And then someplace in the middle of your sales funnel, you want to have a lead capture page. And this is something that you want to do to send varying offers to clients. So what this would do then is this reminds them of your services. This reminds them that you signed up for a reason for information about what you're doing. So if you're a real estate agent, your beginning would be, well,
That I am. I am a real
No.
estate agent.
And you're a really darn good one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So at the beginning, you want to introduce yourself. So this gives you a start to get those emails. And really what all our efforts are about is getting those emails. Those emails, those leads, those things are like gold. But then you also want to put this someplace in the middle as well, so you have a different offer. So that's where having, like Mike does, 10 or 12 different landing pages, they all have different uses and they all have different end results. And it's really important to fit these into your sales funnel wherever you possibly can. And we'll go on to a couple different other ones that are kind of like passive that you can use. You can have one of and then use them on a regular basis. So what's a splash page? So a splash page is literally when you click on something, it has a very warm welcome. It doesn't have anything else but maybe a nice picture, some good text. It's asking for a name and an email. And then it's got a button where you can continue on to something else. Maybe this is on where you send them to your website. So this goes from, let's say you put something together and you've got a regular posting on your Facebook page and they click on a link on a regular post and this goes and it gives them an offer. Sign up to receive 180 blog post ideas right in your inbox. Well, they can either decide to move on to the rest of your website or they can fill this out and keep going. So, and this is a good reason for sending that. You want to have a good reason for sending them there. So obviously 180 blog post ideas for anybody is great, especially if you're trying to keep your content on your website fresh and exciting. So
I can't even wait anymore. I want splash pages on my website. Do I have to have a custom-made website like that Stark Social built, or can I use any website and attach a splash page to it? Because when somebody comes to my website, I wanted to say, bam, do you want a free current market evaluation with no obligation, free today? Or on our California leasing page, would you like to know what your rental home is worth? Bing, oh, no thanks, or yes. How do I get that on my pages?
yeah, so you can actually, even if you don't have a fancy website, and that's where putting in, different types of solutions comes into play. So I have one client who doesn't have the budget for a fancy website, but we have built 4 different landing pages for her. And those 4 different landing pages, she's got her splash page. The splash page, they say no thank you. It goes to her regular landing page, which we've kind of built out to look like a regular website for her goods and services. She does art and things like that. And then we have other ones that we use in Instagram marketing and Pinterest marketing, which the 2 other ones, those are more like lead capture pages. So she wants to get people's information to send them information about what she does with her art and how she does it and her process and her blogs and things like that. So you don't necessarily need like a $5,000 website. If you have a tool like Instapage like I use, you can connect all of the pieces together using links and shortcuts.
So if we do have fancy HomeSmart websites that the agents get free when they join, totally customizable. We can make tons of pages. We can do all the cool stuff. But I don't know about a splash page. So if I built a landing page to go on the top of the splash page, could we use the normal websites for the HomeSmart agents?
Yeah, so we can build a splash page that when somebody clicks and says no thanks, it goes to the HomeSmart smart site.
So there's some sort of plug-in. When they go to it, it automatically goes blink and opens up another company or third-party hootenanny.
Yeah. It's all just it's plugins is what it is. So you just put in the data and make sure that it knows what direction to go to when certain people click on things. So it's like we have different types of splash pages where they fill it out and it goes to another company's website, or it goes to another landing page, or it goes to, you can give it direction as much as you want. It's just all about building the layers of the landing page.
So then I want splash pages, ones that say, would you like to see foreclosures and short sales not yet on the market? Would you like a list of our very low inventory of REO? I'd like it to say, how would you like to work with an agent that could find homes not yet on the market? Those types of things.
If those are all really good ideas, guys. Make sure you're writing them down.
Okay.
No.
That side is done now. Go on.
But these are all really good for when you're trying to build your sales funnel. So if you're just starting out, and I hear it a lot, and that's where a lot of the podcasts and these webinars come from, the inspiration is the questions that people ask. I'm just getting started, or I've been doing this for a while and now I need to be serious. So when you're looking to get those initial emails, a lot of times, I think the data is like 64% of consumers will fill this box out because they don't realize that they can say no thank you. There is a percentage of people who will say no thanks just because they don't want to be bothered. But based on my personal email inbox, I can tell you that most people fill it out because I'm one of those people that will put the information in there because I want to see what I'm going to get. I want to see what the end result is. Am I going to get something really cool? And then if it's just a sales pitch after sales pitch email, then I generally unsubscribe. But
I was just going to say, you guys listen to what she just said, because if you're checking email or doing something else, not paying attention, stop, listen to that. It's okay, and I always train this. Find out if you say, oh, they're just trying to screw me out of giving my email address. Yes, do it. Give it to them. See what's cool. See how other people are being successful. The info marketing industry is multi-billions of dollars. These people are so much smarter than us. Let's learn from them. So if you can get a good idea, it's worth it. And if it's junk, so what? Send it to spam forever. Like I use SaneBox. Black hole, black hole, black hole. Never get it again. But seriously, stop trying to be the people that say, ooh, they're trying to get my email. I'm going to outsmart them and not click. No, click. Get the free thing. Like right now, Deanna could do a splash page on her handout right here. And that's a cool thing to get for free. So what if you give your email address? I have too much email. No, you don't. You just put it in your freaking spam. Okay, go on.
But it's so true, though. I mean, I will look at what my competitors are doing, and if they have a free download or a free whatever, I want to see what it is. I want to see how I can do it better. So use it to gauge what your competitors are doing. And even if it's you have a junk email and then you have a business email, you know, use the junk email. That's what my personal one, I call it the junk email, because I go through and I look at the things I want to see. And I sign up for my competitors' stuff so I can see what they're doing, and that's the best way to improve your skills and make sure that you're doing the best marketing you can. And then splash pages, use them in the middle somewhere, and you can use them to engage your clients and learn more about what they want. So if you're offering specific types of things, like Mike just gave you guys really good examples, if you're offering specific types of things, you can send those splash pages in emails and say, you know, get a list of current REOs on the market right now, send them to that splash page, and if they click no thanks, they're just going to go to your website. So they're at your website, so you've got them someplace that ends up meaning they're going to engage with you anyway.
Yeah.
So this is what I get asked for a lot. Can I get a squeeze page? And it's not necessarily a page. It's a pop-up. Most of us have heard it called a pop-up. But what these pop-ups do...
Wait, that's different than a splash page?
That's a splash page. That's what a splash page is.
Pop-up is a splash page.
Yep, it's basically the same thing. So where's the squeeze page? Squeeze page, not splash page.
Right.
So
squeeze page.
Right. So squeeze page is basically this. What it is somebody visits your website and this pops up. There's usually an algorithm associated with it. We have a tool that we use to build these for clients on their websites. It's really easy to do. But basically what it does is it pops up based on whether or not they have identified the IP address as a visitor that has previously come to your site, and then or put in an email previously from that IP address. So it's a super short form. It's offering something that is wicked good that they cannot resist, and then there's also an option to opt out. So again, there's the no thanks, I'm not interested, or there's also a no thanks, you can ask me later. But this is very basic. So this drops the email address into what I would call, like a future nurture list. So these might start out as cold leads that you end up nurturing into warm leads, and then you can put them on different lists and different types of automations depending on what you're using for your CRM or your email management. So in your sales funnel, these should be at the start everywhere, all over the place. I just clicked away too quickly, I'm sorry. We can go back.
So can we talk a little bit of real estate real quick, since, I don't know.
Yeah, go for it.
80% of the people at least are real estate agents on here. Sorry if you can hear the gardener out in front of our office. Never even knew we had a gardener. Um, so first of all, before I say anything more, if you guys want to ask a question, raise your hand. I'll unmute you, and you can ask questions. There's a lot of good questions here. But these little pages or squeeze pages, landing pages are so important. Us as realtors, we need to have a pipeline, right? So let's say we did some Google AdWords campaigns. Let's say we did some social media advertising with this. Well, what we have to do as real estate agents is build our list, because our list is what our pipeline is. And we have to know by now, and if you don't, it takes 9 to 11 months to cultivate most real estate leads. So this is how we get them into our list, and this is how we start dripping on them with the campaign. We want to take cold to warm to hot leads. But we're looking, if we're doing this in the next 30 days, we're looking at sales really happening over the next year. So what we do today with these pages takes care of us a year from now. So this is why we have to do this now. You know, it's the 80-20 rule for a really good agent, but the reality is 1 out of 10 leads that call you today are going to buy a house or sell a house with you. So we need this pipeline super big, because if you're only going to get 1 sale a month, because you're only getting 10 leads, you're going to drive yourself nuts. So if we can cultivate thousands of these email addresses and create a database, or what we call a list, then we can give them what they want. We could offer them things of great value. They could see value in us. They'll stay on our websites longer. They'll register for our IDX longer, and they'll stay off of Zillow, Trulia, and Julio, and Bullshishkibilia. So as a broker, and a broker to a lot of these people on this webinar, I urge you to have either Deanna create these for you, or maybe some of the other options. But this is what we use on our team, and this is what we get, hundreds of leads a month on. So when somebody says, how do you have 25 escrows at all times? This is it. This is our secret. We use landing pages after landing pages after landing pages. We don't even have squeeze pages, but Deanna's going to make a lot of squeeze pages now. Because now that
I feel like I have a list of things to accomplish now after today.
Right. This is important, because if you can have what was really powerful on that previous slide, a wicked good offer. I mean, I don't know where you heard that, but I'm going to use that for the rest of my life. A wicked good offer. And what you said is something, and what she says right here is something irresistible. You have no idea. So we use another CRM, and we do these lame Facebook ads. People are willing to put their email address and phone number in just to see pictures of a house. Imagine if you could offer, the 5 deadliest mistakes first-time home buyers make. And if you're a first-time home buyer, like, I don't want to make mistakes. So these are little things that I'm looking at. They're just like, wow, I beg you guys to do this, because, I care individually about your success. So please, please, please pay close attention. And just so you know, I can see down the list of all these people. I can sort it by who's not paying attention. And I'm going to just unmute you so we can hear what you are doing. So be careful. All right, go on.
Uh-oh. Teacher is going to get you. What's a sales page? So a sales page sort of speaks for itself. It's a concise lead capture form, and it offers an irresistible offer. And one of the things that I want to make sure that I pointed out on this example that we have here is they list in bullets, here's what you get. And the really cool thing about this is that there are some things that it says, like coming soon, coming soon, coming soon. So what is cool about this is that it's offering you access to a bunch of stuff that might just be the same stuff over and over again with some tweaks and variations. So one of the questions I got asked was, for a sales page, do I really need to provide all this stuff? And the truth of the matter is that you should have a good idea of what your sales offer is going to be. So if you're going to charge people for something, if you have a service that you're going to end up charging somebody for, you want to make sure that they're getting the value of what they're getting. So I think it's just really important to have a plan when you're putting together a sales page. I know a lot of people asked about doing, certain types of packages, certain types of promotions, and you can definitely do those with a sales page. And what's really cool about a sales page is you can start your sales funnel building with a great Facebook ad. You can use it initially to get emails. So if you're looking to do the transaction off of the sales page, let's say you just want to get the information and then you're going to follow up with them to complete the transaction through another service.
Birds are crazy.
What?
The birds are crazy.
And you know what? We put them outside, so they're not even in the house right now.
Oh,
And they're
man.
still like, we can hear her trying to do a webinar, so we're gonna be, loud and obnoxious. I put it, yeah, they're out on the patio right now. So this can be.
How do we as a real estate agent describe, based on what you know about how I run my business, how would I build a sales page like this? I'm very intrigued. I don't think we have anything this elaborate, but I want it. So what would you envision for our team to build on this?
Oh, absolutely. So this would be the example that I came up with for somebody who we were just brainstorming ideas would be like a seller's workshop or a buyer's workshop. You can, I know a lot of, what was that?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So, you can do these different workshops, and even if you charge like $10 for lunch or $150, think about all of the different things that you can provide them based on what your brokerage gives you. I know HomeSmart has access to superior marketing stuff. I've seen it now, and I'm really blown away by it. Like, you can create handouts, you can create presentations, but when you offer people something, whether it's a physical training or a physical seminar or it's done online, people sign up for all kinds of stuff. This whole one right here says Content Promotion Summit All Access Pass. If you're offering people something that they think they're not going to get from a competitor or for somebody else who's already approached them, you can do all kinds of cool stuff. Buyer seller seminars. You could do community information seminars, learn more about your community. You could do all kinds of really cool stuff, especially if you live like we live in Santa Clarita. There's all kinds of neat opportunities to engage with small businesses. You could do a small business investor seminar and talk about how investment can build a lifetime portfolio of wealth. You do all kinds of cool stuff. I think I've been hanging out with Mike too long. You can do these at the beginning of your sales funnel. You can do them towards the middle. So you can do varying offers. And what I like to call this is if you're doing it in the middle of your sales funnel with these leads, it's like the warm-up. It's maybe they forgot about you. Maybe you're worried they forgot about you. So you give them something cool that makes them go like, oh, wow, that Mike Bjorkman guy, he's really cool. I've actually been thinking about finding out what my house is worth because my neighbor just sold it. You could do all kinds of really cool Facebook ads to fill these seminars or, sales meetings to make sure that people are excited about it. So I definitely think that you could do a number of things like this.
So where do you advertise this page besides Facebook?
LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. I think LinkedIn is a good one, especially if you're looking for professionals who maybe are looking to invest or professionals that are looking to sell their high-value homes. LinkedIn is starting to be very competitive with Facebook for their advertising simplicity. So we will do a webinar on that because I just took a whole class and my mind is spilling over with ideas.
Let's answer a quick question.
Okie doke.
Let's see. Oh, never mind. And went down. If you guys want to ask a live question, put your hand up. Otherwise, you can just question in the box where we have a million of them. But I'm kind of in a weird mood. Let's do some live questions. Raise your hand in the box. And the gardener's right here.
Hey, gardeners. What's up?
Yeah.
Gardeners and
You hear it?
gardeners and birds. I heard the leaf blower.
I'm going on. Goodbye.
So what's a click-through page? Very simply, it's very similar to a splash page, but what this does is this gives people the opportunity to decide whether or not they want to move on. So this one is more if you're offering, maybe you have an infographic, maybe you have a download, maybe you have something really short and sweet that you want to get their information from, and you're just offering them simple things. We do a lot of these.
Julie went out and set the gardener up.
Get out of here. She's like, take your leave someplace else, buddy. But so these are really great for, let's say, so I know that the National Association of Realtors every quarter releases all kinds of really cool infographics. So you could actually take those and integrate them as a download.
Okay, stop. Everybody write that down. Go hunt that down because infographics are still the #1 clicked on chingadera on the internet.
You with the foul language. Yes. So infographics. I like to do like downloads. So we have a white paper download. We have cool tips and stuff. People will give you their email address if they think they're going to get cool stuff. I am constantly signing up to see like top 10 this or top 5 this or 20 things you shouldn't be doing on social media. Sometimes it's generic and it's all the same regurgitated stuff, but sometimes there's really good ideas in there, and I will use those in these trainings or online for my own posting or for the clients. So you really want to use these click-through pages in the middle. Once you've established trust via email, you want to make sure that when you're sending people to a click-through page that you know that they already like you and they know you've subscribed, they've opted in. And then these are great with warm leads who are in need of potentially a little nudge. So maybe if you have somebody who you've talked to them on the phone a couple times, maybe you've done a listing presentation, you put them in the bucket where you send them some click-through pages with content and information that tells them why right now is a great time to sell. Maybe you send them a map with a bunch of bullets of all the different listings that have sold recently for values that they may not have been aware of. So you can do all kinds of stuff with these click-through pages and set them up in ways that you can use them in multiple different ways all the time. So I really like sending these to people who have asked about our services and they want to know what does it cost for social media, what does it cost to get a website, what does it cost for a landing page, and I have a different click-through page for each one, and those are all really easy to just
First
send
question,
out via
email.
What does it cost? $1 million.
I'm still a little confused, Deanna. Can you explain to me? So we did the squeeze splash click. I'm still confused. Well, still a lot of people confused. What is exactly the difference between this and a splash page? This is not something that pops up, or it is?
No, so this is not something that pops up. I just took the top of the page because showing the whole page, it was just a bunch of giraffe, so I felt like it was too much. So let's say you send, best example. So let's say you send an email to someone who is a warm lead. You've talked to them a couple times on the phone. Maybe you've done a listing presentation or you've sent them materials about you.
So I'm having a Beat the Spring Rush listing special.
Yes.
Okay.
I like it. Yes.
Okay.
So then you send them an email with that click-through page, right? So they click on it, it opens, this is a web page, this is a page.
Is it embedded into the email, or is it a click here to learn more about our spring special?
It's a click here to learn more special. So they click here, it opens up, and then it says it's got some great text, so it says, spring special right now for the next 30 days, and you don't have to change these things. It could be 30 days, and you could send them every spring to people and just change out the images and things like that. And then it says, click here to find out why it's the best time, or download information on why it's the best time. And then what happens is they put in their email address, and then the next thing you know is they're being taken to a PDF in another page that shows them all the cool stuff.
Where's that PDF stored?
So that PDF would be stored in your database where your landing page is.
So like your Amazon.
Your Amazon NAS or whatever it's called.
Or whatever, your Drive.
Exactly.
Somewhere Drive.
Dropbox.
Google Drive and things like that. All right.
Yeah. So Google Drive, wherever you have it.
Super, super important. I love that. So write that down. Put that on our list of things to do this week.
Yes, dear. Okay. All right, so webinar landing pages. Obviously, you guys are familiar with these. If you've been in the real estate industry for any amount of time, you've probably gotten offered to sit through a bunch of these trainings, and we thank you. What does one need? It needs a colorful bio and description. So obviously, put somebody's face on there. Make sure hopefully it's yours. I actually sat through a webinar and then got halfway through and realized that the person who was presenting the webinar was not the person who was on the landing page, and then I realized that it was just like a stock picture. and they forgot to change it out. So make sure that it's your face and your description. And yes, as an individual real estate agent, I say do a webinar for your sellers. Do a seller's information webinar.
Do a mass. Okay, so let's talk about that again. We've talked about it before. I have not done it. I still want to do it. I want to do a humongous blast of a webinar, which is a massive listing presentation. Anybody who's ever wanted to sell their home, this is a must-see. We're going to talk about the 10 deadliest mistakes that every home seller makes, the 3 most crucial, important tips on who to hire, and we're going to offer you a spring special. Watch the webinar to find out how to get all this information. I want to do that. So we build a webinar landing page through what service?
So I use Instapage, but if you have like GoToWebinar or like a lot of the different webinar services will have a landing page that you can build for them specifically.
The GoToWebinar one that we use is like bleh, and the one you do is all pretty and nice and.
Yeah, that's true. So I can.
The GoToWebinar one, and how do I hook up this beautiful one that's colorful bios and descriptions and all this great stuff? Because ours is like that. So.
Right. So.
Attention! You need to see this webinar.
So yeah, so you can do, there's a lot of services out there that you can use for landing pages. I use Instapage because it's fairly inexpensive and they have a lot of really cool templates and it integrates with a lot of stuff. If you want to take a look at it, I think I have like demo links I can send out so you can take a look at the demo and see if you like it. Otherwise, I can do it for you. And this is something you can do throughout the sales cycle. Like there's no reason why you can't start your sales cycle with doing a webinar. I mean, first and foremost, it places you as an authority in your industry and your community. And then you're able to prove your effectiveness, and also it helps you to get to know the different types of potential clients you have in your sales funnel. People that are interested in a webinar are people that are maybe not necessarily interested in going to an in-person seminar. So if you get 100 people to sign up for your webinar and 30 people show up, that's still great because you had those people sign up and you can drip them about potential upcoming webinars. If part of your sales funnel didn't sign up for the webinar, then maybe you talk to them about an in-person seller seminar. So you have to have all these different ideas written down ahead of time before we start building. And that's really, really, really important.
Okay. So I wanted to point out to all these people, Deanna, if we had a room full of 50 people upstairs in our training room, could we not use this exact presentation to a live audience?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So what I want you to know is you could use your HomeSmart industry-leading, most awesome ever listing presentation and use your actual PowerPoint that we do and launch it just like she's doing through a webinar. This is how I take listings over the phone. This is how I take a lot of listings without ever having to see anybody. This webinar account that we're using is very inexpensive. So I think for up to 50 people, it might be $29 a month. And we have one that holds up to 500 people because we need it, but you guys don't need that. If you happen to get more than 100 or 150 registrants, and you could upgrade your account and do that. I mean, who wouldn't want to? Like, that's how Julie uses our webinars service to hire agents. I mean, you could use it for anything. Let's say you wanted to go over disclosures or a listing agreement or anything with a client, do it through this GoToWebinar. But I'm telling you, this mass listing presentation idea is going to work. And when you see me get 20 listings in a week, you're going to be, oh, dang it, he did it. Well, you'll see the promotion, so you'll know. I mean, I really make sure I do this. I hate being so busy. It drives me insane because this is the idea of all ideas.
No, it's a great idea. And if you think if it's only $29 for 50 whatever participants it is, you can even use that as a selling feature. Like only 50 seats left. Like they don't know that you only have 50 seats available. Like that makes it sound like that much more cool. I don't speak English. So that makes it sound really cool. If you're saying, limited spots available, only 50 spots left, I mean, that's a part of your pitch right there. So they think that people are really engaged with what you're doing, and that's how you get started. I love doing these webinars. They're so much fun.
I just answered like 20 questions, and I missed like half what you just said. raise your hand if you want to ask a question so I can unmute you and do this. Because, oh my gosh. As soon as I say that, the question's pop there. All right, so raise your hand if you have a question. We'd love to answer it for you. Go on. Sorry.
That's okay. So let's talk about A/B testing because it is really important. But I was answering a question for someone a couple weeks ago that was having landing page headaches basically as they were building their stuff. So I wanted to talk about A/B testing because just like when we talked about with Facebook advertising, any advertising, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever you're doing, you should be A/B testing your different types of ads and landing pages. So this is an option. These are options right here. It doesn't have to be an entirely different page. The tiniest little things can make a user decide whether or not they're going to click or not. So you want to decide your success metric before you start testing. And then you want to set yourself a testing period. Test the most distracting elements first. So in this example I have here, we have join us versus make money flipping websites. So what's more distracting? You look at all the things and think, how are people going to respond to this? What person is going to click on this? You want to craft your test based on the 3 stages of your sales funnel. So who am I sending this to? Are these new leads? Are these warm leads? Are these cold leads? How are you defining them? Are they 1, 2, 3? Is it ABC? Whatever you're doing, decide how you're going to test based on the stage you're in your sales funnel. And then make sure you run your test for a full week, and it's during the same time period. I had somebody say, I ran it for like 3 days and it didn't work. And then I ran it again, a different one, like 2 weeks later for 3 days. That's not going to work. It's not going to give you a good sample audience. A full week or more. I generally say, let's do 14 days and see where we're at. And then compare those results. But it has to be from the same time period. So they have to be running at the same time. And then keep a log of your results. So that once you're done and you decide, okay, so this join us worked better than this cluttered button with a lot of text. And so I'm going to run more landing page ads with this one, and then I'm going to try a couple other tweaks. So you should always be changing and challenging yourself to see how well things work, because obviously we're all different types of learners and users, and it's just important to make sure that you're hitting yourself with success and not beating yourself up because you didn't try something different the first time around.
So, pause. So I just answered 4 or 5 different people. They want to know how do we get a webinar account. So I'm just going to say it real quick because I know a lot of you are taking notes like good learners. So you have GoToWebinar, which is the one we're on by Citrix. You have Join.me. You have RingCentral. You have Google Hangouts. You have, what else? Google Hangout won't go over what? 10 people maybe? 20, something like that?
I think it's like 10 people.
So just remember, Join.me, RingCentral, AT&T has its own version.
Yeah, I like Uber Conference.
Yeah, Uber Conference is another one,
and that one starts out for free for like 25 people.
Yeah,
and then you can get fancy with it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, but if you just to start out, GoToWebinar is just fine. I like GoToWebinar because it records it and it holds it on their own database, so it doesn't clog it until you want it. And then Deanna can download this, I can download this, anybody can download it. It's just super easy to get off your computer for later, because that's what you should put on your YouTube channel too. We have an agent on here that I'm talking to, Sam Silver, one of our agents. He actually did a listing presentation. It was on YouTube, which was really cool. And you could send that to anybody. You could even promote that. So anything you do on a webinar, there's no reason why it can't be rebroadcasted, replayed, promoted, advertised anywhere. So we got a lot of people excited at that part.
No, that's great. So yeah, I do like the GoToWebinar. It's probably been around the longest of all of them in terms of software. So they've worked a lot of the kinks out, and that's important. What should I use my landing page for? Here's some examples. Facebook and Instagram advertising with targeted ads. Obviously, we've talked about dark ads in the past. It's a great place to use landing pages. White paper downloads, offers, deals that provide unique value proposition. Pinterest advertising for tips, tricks, and ideas. You can do tons of really cool stuff with Pinterest now in terms of advertising, and I've just started to take advantage of it, and I'm really liking it. So you should give it a shot and see if there's what I think is really cool with Pinterest is you can do all kinds of cool things about maybe you have a specialty. Maybe you're like a mid-century modern or a craftsman style person, or you're like super uber wonderful at staging. You can do those types of things in Pinterest advertising and capture emails through a landing page. It's really cool. You should check it out. If you have questions, I'll probably do a Pinterest webinar for advertising.
Let me try to answer some of these questions. I said it, so we got to answer them. Let's see. Okay, Eddie, you there? Eddie is a buddy of mine from Portland, Oregon. HomeSmart up there. Eddie, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yep, totally, man. What's your question? You're on live.
Hey.
Is that my friend Eddie Zapian?
Yes,
That's
it is.
me.
Hey!
Hey, how's it going?
He listens to our podcast, so we're like buddies.
So, hey, you just noticed, you just noted Pinterest, and then you talked about LinkedIn a few minutes ago. I asked this on another forum before. I'm pretty heavy on Facebook, but I'm really interested to figure out how to funnel Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, all those other social media platforms towards my business. I don't want to get too far off topic, but how can I do that without I guess I really don't know how I would even implement that for my business instead of just like for fun, or here's a picture of the beach, or here's a picture of my pig, whatever.
Oh, well, if you have a picture of your pig, it's done. You're hired. No, I think what's important, and that's a great question, is that if you're getting started or if you're not sure what your budget is, I think the important thing to do, and I try to encourage my clients to do this, is come up with an advertising budget. So how much money do you want to spend on advertising? So that's Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Pinterest ads, LinkedIn ads. So decide if it's $500 or $5,000. You put yourself there. And then from there you decide, okay, so I need at least 2 landing pages. And you don't have to spend a lot of money to begin with. I'm a huge advocate of, if it's free, it's better. But you want to make sure you have maybe 2 landing pages and at least some place to send them. So even if it's not a CRM, maybe you use an email management tool like MailChimp just to get started. And so, you really just want to decide first, what's your budget, get yourself your landing pages, and then design yourself maybe 2 or 3 ads per channel. And then get those running in one quarter, and then take those numbers and then compare your successes. And then say, I'm going to change this up in the next quarter. So I'm not going to do this. This didn't work for me. I'm going to put more money on LinkedIn and Facebook, and I'm just going to post or pin on Pinterest and Instagram and use less of a focus on my advertising dollars. So if you want, we can totally have a conversation offline so that maybe I can help you sort out how you get started with what you want to do.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah,
Eddie,
no problem.
How did you hear of Stark Social?
This wacky guy from Santa Clarita. You might know him.
I always want to let Deanna know that when I travel the country and speak, it works on her behalf.
Well, and really quick, I love the Stark podcast, and I love your podcast, Networking Real Estate Marketing, and it's been great since November when I started listening to you guys, when I met you, Mike.
Awesome. Thanks. All right. Carry on, Deanna. I appreciate it. Good to hear your voice, Eddie. Take care.
I'm so excited. That's so cool. I love Eddie. He retweets us all the time. What should I use my landing page for? So here's just a list of ideas. Share a targeted video and offer more information, events and mixers in your community, create a seminar, webinar, or series, free reports or community information. This is all in the download for the PDF, so you guys don't have to write all these down. But maybe you can start brainstorming ideas around how you can use these to integrate your marketing and your landing pages. So, when you're doing an advertisement on Facebook, which is always my go-to because I think people are most familiar with it, you want to make sure that you're sending people somewhere. So a landing page is a great start. If you don't have a website, if you don't have the budget for a website, a landing page is a really good way to start building emails. So take this list, use it as you will. I have some do's and don'ts that we want to cover before we're done. The don'ts of building landing pages. Don't clutter your landing page. One of the things I found in all of my research is the less you put on your landing page, the more concise it is, the better. If there's too much going on, if you have too many things on your landing page for a consumer to look at, 70% of consumers will click away if they're not sure what they should be looking at. So don't clutter it up. Don't use confusing jargon and words. Maybe it's words and terminology that as a real estate agent or a business owner you understand, but don't use words or terms that would be confusing to a potential seller or buyer or client, because in the end, if they don't understand what you're selling, you're not going to get their email. Don't lead visitors astray. So when somebody clicks on your landing page, you want to make sure that what they are saying, seeing, and reading is what they actually get. So if there's like, I have to scroll through this whole thing and click on stuff and I don't understand and I'm confused, they're going to click away. So don't offer them something that you can't then provide. Don't ask them for a lot of information. Like I said in the last couple of webinars, people treat their email now like currency. If they're giving it to you, they want something of value back. So don't ask for a lot of information because they might get overwhelmed. Don't be generic. Be unique. Be fun. Be yourself. Put little aspects of yourself into whatever it is you're doing in your marketing. I always say it should be a little bit fun and represent your personality. So don't be generic. And then don't forget about the thank you page. Whether it's a thank you page or a thank you email, make sure that if people are giving you their information, that you're thanking them for it. I don't know how many times I have filled out a form and gotten nothing. And then I'm like, did they get it? Did I do it right? What happened? And then like 2 weeks later, I get an email of like, here's your download. And I'm like, did I sign up for that? I don't unsubscribe. So make sure that you thank them in some way. The do's of building landing pages. So do use strong call to actions. We just did a podcast about it. Make sure that you're using a strong call to action and that it's clear. One of the first things that they should see on a landing page is the call to action. What is the purpose of this landing page? Consider your placement of your forms and your call to action. They should not have to scroll down to find your form. And if they do scroll down, there should be another form someplace else at the bottom that they can fill out. Most of the time, I don't remember what the statistic is, but more users are less likely to click on a button once they've gone down to the bottom than they are to fill out a form. So if you've got a form at the top and a form at the bottom, that's okay. Form it away. Go for it. Minimize information. So if you're trying to tell people about what you're offering, let's say it's a seller's seminar. You're doing a home seller's seminar. You don't want to give them everything that you're going to give them in the seminar on the landing page. Give them the highlights. Give them a sneak peek. Maybe you put a video in that case, and you do a little sneak peek video of like, here's what I have to offer. So don't put too much information. Do rely on social proof. So social proof would be, let's say you've got a bunch of reviews on Zillow or Facebook or Realtor.com or wherever it is you're keeping your reviews. Take a couple of those reviews and make sure that they're above the fold. You don't want them to have to go looking for them, because then most of the time people will not really get to them if they're down at the bottom. A lot of times people will look on landing pages above the fold, and if you've got them on a smaller screen, they might not see them. So maybe you put them a couple bubbles up top of little cute reviews and maybe somebody's cute little face. So do make sure that you offer them evidence that you're good at what you do. Do use bullet points. In the sales page you saw they laid out everything that they were going to give them once the transaction was complete. Do have relevant images. So try to avoid overstock looking images when you're putting a landing page together. And by that I mean, if you're living in a certain type of community, don't use, like, what was it somebody said that like they clicked on something and the advertisement was for homes in San Diego, and the picture had rain gutters. It just didn't suit the area. So make sure you're using images that match your area or what you're doing. Do tailor to your buyer persona. So think about the buyer persona and what they're looking for. So this is, we all have a hard time. But all of us that are entrepreneurs, real estate agents, we're all salespeople, essentially. We're selling ourselves and our services. So you want to think about what the buyer wants and not necessarily what you want in your mind. So step outside of yourself when you're putting this together and think about the buyer persona. And do consider objections that your buyer persona might have. So think about what they might like or dislike about the page and then make changes accordingly. And then I think there we go, last one. Do think about design and consistency. So if you're creating a landing page or having somebody do it for you and you already have a website or you already have marketing materials, make sure that you're using those marketing materials as inspiration for what you're about to do. So if you have business cards, if you have palm cards or anything that your 5x7 mailers that you're using, if you have stuff that's already designed for your business, give those to your marketing helper or person or whoever's doing it for you, and just make sure that you follow consistency with design. There's nobody likes to look at what was the example I got at the last training? If you send somebody a 5x7 card, right, that's really neatly done, and then they go to a landing page that's, let's say the card is black and red and your landing page colors are like green and yellow, they're not going to see the connection. So you want it to be professional and consistent.
That was awesome. This is one of my favorite webinars freaking ever.
All right.
I have a list of notes. Well, I hope you have my list of notes too of what we need to get done this week. And you guys, as always, I invite you to, ask Deanna if she can get the pricing from her, because she can do really cool stuff. Obviously, you've already seen it. Her contact information is here, and I always ask, please publicly thank her for doing these. That's where she gets her brand, her fame. People all over the country get to know about her because you guys are all over the country. So when you properly thank her publicly via social media, that's much appreciated. Also on the right side is Julie's contact information. Look who snuck in.
Hey.
She's here.
She was upstairs launching our new HomeSmart team and holding them accountable and showing them how to use their CRM and whatnot. But Julie's information there if you want to talk about all the tools, technology, training, and industry-leading compensation plan. Julie at homesmartncg.com. Any of us can get a hold of Julie real quick, so just make sure you reach out. And any other questions, reach out to me. I'm very easy to find too. You're going to get an email from us, and you can reach out that way. So what's our next webinar?
Next webinar, we are talking, I'm going to walk everybody through Twitter advertising.
Whoa, very cool.
Yeah, so this is going to be a good one. This will be less slides and more hands-on. So I'm sure there will be tons of questions, but if you have questions about Twitter advertising, doing promoted posts or getting more likes, more followers and retweets, send them to me now so I can make sure I cover everything. And then don't forget.
There's a bunch of people thanking me in my questions. You guys, everybody pull out your phone, take a picture of your screen, and Deanna's going to be like this waving, and thank her, tag her in a post somewhere, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, I don't care where it is. Please take a wave. They're taking pictures, Deanna. Wave.
Hi, guys. Thank you.
Thank her. Yay. All right, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks for Twitter advertising, which is going to be off the chain. Bye.